Patterns in Numbers, The Hidden Codes of Nature, Technology, and Beyond, Part 1. Foundations of Patterns, Chapter 1. Introduction to Number Patterns. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast ocean, watching waves roll in. The rhythm feels familiar, one wave after another, repeating endlessly. That rhythm, that pattern, is at the heart of what mathematicians and scientists have sought to understand for centuries. Numbers, like waves, have their rhythms and structures. These patterns, hidden within the abstract language of mathematics, are woven into the very fabric of our universe, shaping nature, technology, and even human creativity. But what exactly is a number pattern, and why do they matter so much? What are number patterns? At its core, a number pattern is a sequence or arrangement of numbers following a specific rule or set of rules. These rules might involve addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or more complex operations. Sometimes the rule is obvious, as in counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Other times it's concealed in intricate layers, like the Fibonacci sequence, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, where each number is the sum of the two preceding it. Whether simple or complex, these patterns unlock profound insights into the nature of mathematics and its applications. The universal language of patterns. Numbers are often called the universal language, and patterns are the grammar that gives this language its meaning. Long before written history, humans relied on patterns to navigate their world. Early farmers observed the cycles of the moon to determine planting seasons. Ancient builders used geometric patterns to construct pyramids and temples. Even the concept of time, divided into hours, minutes, and seconds, is based on repeating numerical patterns. But patterns aren't just practical, they're also beautiful. The ancient Greeks marveled at the golden ratio, a proportion found in everything from seashells to spiral galaxies. Mathematicians have long admired the symmetry of prime numbers, the infinite series of numbers divisible only by themselves and one. These patterns transcend utility, offering a glimpse into the elegance of the universe. Patterns in nature is the ultimate mathematician, and its use of number patterns is nothing short of astonishing. Consider the sunflower. Its seeds form spirals radiating out from the center, and if you count these spirals in each direction, you'll often find Fibonacci numbers, 21 spirals one way, 34 the other. This pattern isn't accidental. It's a solution nature has devised to pack seeds efficiently within the flower's head. Another example is the fractal, a pattern that repeats at smaller and smaller scales. Trees branch according to fractal rules, with each twig resembling the larger structure. Similarly, the intricate lacework of a snowflake mirrors its fractal nature. These patterns not only create beauty but also serve a purpose. They help trees maximize sunlight exposure and allow rivers to distribute water efficiently. Patterns in technology. As humanity advanced, it discovered that number patterns could solve problems far beyond nature. One of the most transformative examples is prime numbers, which have become the backbone of modern cryptography. Every time you make an online transaction, your data is secured by encryption methods rooted in prime number patterns. These patterns ensure that sensitive information remains private in a digital age. Another technological marvel tied to number patterns is the fractal. Fractals aren't just a natural curiosity. They power modern computer graphics. The stunningly realistic landscapes in video games and animated movies often rely on fractal algorithms to simulate mountains, clouds, and other natural features. The same principles are used in telecommunications, where fractal antennas enhance signal strength. Patterns across history. Number patterns have captivated minds throughout history. Ancient Babylonians used arithmetic sequences to track the movements of stars and planets. The Islamic Golden Age saw mathematicians like Al-Khwarizmi develop algorithms, step-by-step procedures for solving problems based on numerical patterns. These algorithms laid the groundwork for modern computing. In the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci incorporated the golden ratio into his art, believing it represented divine harmony. Centuries later, Alan Turing, often considered the father of computer science, analyzed patterns in nature to explain how animals develop spots and stripes. The search for hidden patterns. Even today, the search for patterns continues. Mathematicians and scientists explore unsolved mysteries like the distribution of prime numbers. Why do primes seem to appear randomly yet follow subtle, hidden rules? Physicists delve into the patterns of the cosmos, seeking a theory of everything to unify the laws of nature. Artificial intelligence, too, thrives on patterns. Machine learning algorithms analyze vast data sets to find patterns in everything from human behavior to climate change. These insights help predict future trends, from consumer preferences to the progression of diseases. Why patterns matter? At first glance, patterns may seem abstract or even irrelevant to everyday life. But patterns are the foundation of problem solving. They allow us to predict, organize, and innovate. Recognizing patterns helps a musician compose a symphony, a scientist develop a vaccine, or a detective solve a crime. Patterns connect the seemingly disparate pieces of our world, revealing a hidden order beneath the chaos. Your journey through patterns. This book is your guide to the fascinating world of number patterns. In the chapters ahead, you'll uncover the stories of patterns that have shaped history, discover their presence in art and nature, and explore their role in cutting-edge technologies. Along the way, you'll see that patterns aren't just numbers on a page. They're a lens through which we can view and understand the universe. So the next time you notice the spirals in a seashell, the branches of a tree, or even the arrangement of tiles on a floor, pause for a moment. You're witnessing the timeless language of patterns, a language as old as time itself and as new as tomorrow's discoveries. Key takeaways. A number pattern is a sequence of numbers following specific rules. Patterns are found in nature, art, technology, and mathematics. They have practical applications, from ancient farming to modern cryptography. Understanding patterns enhances problem-solving and creativity. This book explores the hidden codes of patterns in nature, technology, and beyond. In the next chapter, we'll dive into one of the most famous patterns of all time, the Fibonacci sequence, a numerical key to understanding growth and beauty in nature. Chapter 2. Sequences in Nature. Patterns of Life. The Fibonacci sequence and beyond. Imagine you're walking through a garden, surrounded by the vibrant colors of flowers, the towering trunks of trees, and the intricate spirals of a sunflower. These natural forms, seemingly random at first glance, often hide a profound mathematical structure. Among these patterns, one sequence stands out for its remarkable prevalence in the natural world: the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence, a brief introduction. The Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones: 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, dots. First documented in the West by the Italian mathematician Leonardo of Pisa, known as Fibonacci, this sequence arose from a practical question about rabbit populations. In his 1202 book, Liber Abaci, Fibonacci posed a hypothetical scenario. If a pair of rabbits reproduces every month, how many pairs would there be after a year? The solution gave birth to the Fibonacci sequence, which extends far beyond theoretical populations to the very fabric of nature itself. Nature's hidden code. The Fibonacci sequence is not just a mathematical curiosity. It is woven into the structure of the natural world. Consider these examples. 1. Spirals in plants. Look at a sunflower or a pine cone. The seeds and scales often form spirals, winding clockwise and counterclockwise. If you count these spirals, you'll frequently find Fibonacci numbers: 21 spirals in one direction, 34 in the other. This arrangement allows the plant to pack seeds or scales efficiently, maximizing space and exposure to sunlight. 2. Petal counts. Many flowers have a number of petals corresponding to Fibonacci numbers. Lilies have 3 petals, buttercups 5, daisies often 34 or 55. This pattern isn't universal, but it is strikingly common. The arrangement helps the flower distribute seeds or pollen optimally. 3. Branches on trees. The branching patterns of trees and shrubs often follow Fibonacci numbers. Starting from the trunk, the branches split into smaller sections, ensuring efficient distribution of nutrients and sunlight. This self-replicating structure resembles the sequence's recursive nature. 4. Shell spirals. The nautilus shell is a celebrated example of the Fibonacci sequence in action. Its growth forms a logarithmic spiral expanding proportionally as the animal grows. While not every spiral in nature follows Fibonacci numbers exactly, the concept of proportional growth echoes the sequence's principles. The golden ratio, nature's aesthetic blueprint. The Fibonacci sequence also connects to the golden ratio, approximately 1.618. This ratio emerges when dividing consecutive Fibonacci numbers as the sequence progresses. For example, dividing 21 by 13 or 34 by 21 yields values approaching the golden ratio. The golden ratio is often called nature's aesthetic ideal. It appears in the proportions of a seashell, the arrangement of leaves around a stem, and even the spirals of galaxies. This ratio ensures efficiency and harmony, principles nature seems to favor. Why does nature follow Fibonacci? The prevalence of Fibonacci numbers in nature isn't a coincidence. There are practical reasons why these patterns emerge. 1. Efficiency in growth. Plants grow in ways that maximize exposure to sunlight and nutrients. Fibonacci spirals and branching structures allow them to fill space evenly and avoid overcrowding. 2. Energy optimization. Animals and plants often grow incrementally, adding new parts proportional to their current size. This growth mirrors the additive nature of the Fibonacci sequence. 3. Genetic and evolutionary factors. Genetic instructions for growth are encoded in ways that produce Fibonacci-like patterns. These patterns have likely been favored by evolution because they provide functional advantages, such as better reproduction or resource allocation. Beyond Fibonacci, other sequences in nature. While Fibonacci dominates discussions of natural patterns, other sequences also make appearances in the world around us. 1. Arithmetic and geometric progressions. The arrangement of tree rings or the layers of an onion often follows simple arithmetic progressions, reflecting consistent growth rates over time. 2. Fractals in nature. Patterns, like those seen in ferns or snowflakes, follow fractal rules, where smaller parts replicate the structure of the whole. While not strictly numerical sequences, fractals demonstrate the iterative principles behind many natural phenomena. 3. Prime numbers in life cycles. Cicadas, for example, have life cycles lasting 13 or 17 years, both prime numbers. These cycles help them avoid overlapping with predators, showcasing the evolutionary utility of prime number patterns. Patterns beyond Earth. Interestingly, the patterns we observe in nature on Earth also appear on larger scales. Spirals in galaxies mirror the logarithmic spirals of shells. The branching of rivers resembles the growth of trees. The Fibonacci sequence and related patterns transcend biology, offering glimpses into the fundamental principles governing the universe. Reflecting on the patterns around us. Nature's reliance on mathematical sequences is both a practical necessity and a source of beauty. The Fibonacci sequence and its connection to the golden ratio offer an elegant reminder that the rules of mathematics are not confined to textbooks. They are etched into the world around us. The next time you see a sunflower, count its spirals. When you notice the symmetry of a seashell, think of the golden ratio. Patterns like these connect us to something greater, revealing the harmony and order underlying even the most chaotic-seeming environments. Key takeaways. The Fibonacci sequence appears in plant growth, animal structures, and cosmic formations, reflecting efficiency and harmony. The golden ratio, derived from Fibonacci numbers, is nature's blueprint for beauty and proportion. Patterns in nature are not coincidences but practical adaptations for survival and growth. Observing these patterns can deepen our appreciation for the mathematical fabric of the universe. Through the Fibonacci sequence and beyond, nature whispers its secrets to those who are willing to look closely. All it takes is curiosity and a keen eye to uncover the hidden codes of the natural world. Chapter 3. Understanding the Fibonacci sequence. Nature's numbers. The beauty and power of the Fibonacci sequence. If you've ever marveled at the spiral of a sunflower, the arrangement of leaves on a stem, or the symmetry of a seashell, you've already encountered the Fibonacci sequence. This sequence, which begins with 0 and 1 and grows by summing the two previous numbers, reveals a mathematical pattern that shapes both the natural world and human creativity. The Fibonacci sequence isn't just a numerical curiosity. It's a bridge between the abstract realm of mathematics and the tangible beauty of the universe. In this chapter, we'll explore its origins, properties, and its surprising appearances in nature, art, and beyond. What is the Fibonacci sequence? The Fibonacci sequence is defined as follows: 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, dots. Each number in the sequence is the sum of the two preceding ones. Simple, right? Yet this simple rule creates a pattern that resonates deeply with the world around us. Mathematicians describe it using a formula Fn = Fn1 plus Fn2, where Sas F0 is 0 and Laus F1 is 1t. But the Fibonacci sequence is more than just numbers. It's a story that begins in medieval Italy with a mathematician named Leonardo of Pisa, better known as Fibonacci. A historical perspective: in 1202, Fibonacci introduced his sequence in Liber Abaci, the Book of Calculation. While the book covered many practical applications of arithmetic, the Fibonacci sequence appeared in a hypothetical problem about rabbit reproduction. Imagine a pair of rabbits that breed every month, with each pair producing a new pair starting in their second month. How many pairs of rabbits would there be after a year? Fibonacci discovered that the population growth followed his now famous sequence. Although Fibonacci's work popularized the sequence in Europe, it had already appeared centuries earlier in Indian mathematics. Scholars like Acharya Pingala used a similar pattern to describe poetic meter. This global history underscores the universal nature of Fibonacci's discovery. Properties of the Fibonacci sequence. What makes the Fibonacci sequence special? Its simplicity belies a host of fascinating mathematical properties. 1. Growth rate. As the sequence progresses, the ratio of consecutive Fibonacci numbers approaches the golden ratio, approximately 1.618. This connection between Fibonacci and the golden ratio is one of its most celebrated features, as it explains much of its aesthetic appeal. 2. Spiral patterns. Fibonacci numbers often form spirals, as seen in galaxies, hurricanes, and the shells of mollusks. These spirals grow logarithmically, reflecting the sequence's additive nature. 3. Recursive beauty. The sequence is inherently self-referential. Each number contains within it the sum of all those that came before, creating a kind of memory of its own history. 4. Applications in geometry. Fibonacci numbers are used to construct Fibonacci rectangles, which can be divided into squares that fit together in a spiral pattern. This geometry is visually striking and often appears in art and architecture. Fibonacci in nature. The Fibonacci sequence is sometimes called nature's code because it appears so frequently in the natural world. But why? The answer lies in efficiency and growth. 1. Phyllotaxis. The arrangement of leaves, seeds, or petals on a plant often follows Fibonacci numbers. This arrangement allows plants to maximize sunlight capture and space for growth. For example, a sunflower's seeds spiral in two directions, often with counts of 34 and 55, both Fibonacci numbers. Pine cones, pineapples, and artichokes display similar spiral patterns. 2. Animal anatomy. The spirals of a nautilus shell, the horns of a ram, and even the structure of DNA reflect Fibonacci proportions, though not always perfectly. 3. Reproductive patterns. Fibonacci numbers also appear in the breeding habits of certain animals, like bees, whose family trees follow the sequence. Fibonacci in art and design. Human creativity has long been inspired by Fibonacci's sequence and its connection to the golden ratio. Artists, architects, and musicians have all drawn on its principles to create works of timeless beauty. 1. Architecture. The Parthenon in Greece and the Great Pyramid of Giza are often said to incorporate the golden ratio. While this connection is debated, the idea that Fibonacci patterns evoke harmony remains influential. 2. Art. Renaissance artists like Leonardo da Vinci used the golden ratio to compose paintings. The proportions of Vitruvian Man and the composition of the Mona Lisa both reflect these principles. 3. Music. Composers like Béla Bartók and Claude Debussy structured their works using Fibonacci numbers, creating pieces that feel naturally balanced and pleasing. Modern applications, Fibonacci patterns aren't just relics of the past. They play an active role in modern science and technology. 1. Stock market analysis. Traders use Fibonacci retracement levels to predict price movements based on the idea that markets follow patterns of expansion and contraction. 2. Computer algorithms. Fibonacci numbers are used in algorithms for sorting, searching, and optimizing computational processes. 3. Biological research. Scientists study Fibonacci patterns to understand growth processes, from cell division to the formation of animal shells. Why does Fibonacci matter? At its heart, the Fibonacci sequence reveals the interconnectedness of mathematics and the world around us. It offers insight into how life organizes itself, from the smallest seed to the vastness of galaxies. By studying these patterns, we not only uncover nature's secrets, but also tap into a source of inspiration that fuels human innovation. Explore Fibonacci in your world. Now that you've glimpsed the power of Fibonacci, take a moment to look for these patterns around you. Count the petals of a flower or observe the spirals in a pine cone. You might just find that mathematics is closer to your everyday life than you realized. Key takeaways. The Fibonacci sequence begins with 0 and 1, and each subsequent number is the sum of the two preceding ones. Fibonacci numbers are linked to the golden ratio, a universal principle of harmony and beauty. Nature uses Fibonacci patterns for efficient growth and optimal design. Human art, architecture, and technology have been deeply influenced by Fibonacci's principles. The Fibonacci sequence reminds us that even the simplest rules can produce astonishing complexity, connecting the abstract world of numbers to the vibrant reality of life itself.